never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Fine, I'm not.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. It's the first day of March. It's also the first Wednesday of March. So it's time for another weekly top 10 countdown. And this is a countdown that honestly I didn't decide on until Sunday when I read this article. And then when I got done reading the article, I said, you know what? That'll be good for a top 10 countdown. And the reason why I thought that is because now that it's March, it's starting to be vacation season for a lot of people. I know March is early for a lot of people, but back before Bella started going to public school when she was homeschooled, we actually took our family vacation in March because Grace and I, neither one like crowds. We don't like walking in crowds. We don't like driving in crowds. So we would always go on vacation in March when most people are at work and most kids are in school, so that it allowed us to be able to go on vacation and not have to go in a restaurant and wait for 2 hours to eat. Go ride a go-kart and not have to wait an hour to get on the ride. Not go play putt-putt and have to wait an hour to play. We could just walk up, pay, go ahead. Go to a restaurant, walk in, and sit down, because neither one of us have any patience. And I can't stand driving in a city that is full of people, because it takes you an hour and a half to get from point A to point B when it's only about a mile and a half. I don't like that. When I get behind the wheel, I want to be able to go. So now that it's vacation season, I figured we would talk about something that might affect your vacation depending on when you're taking it and where you're taking it. This is the 10 best states to drive in according to Wallet Hub. Now, this is from Wallet Hub, but I was on a couple of other websites that pretty much had the list in the same order. So I don't guess it matters which one you read, but the one that I read comes from Wallet Hub, and it is the 10 best states to drive in. And it's funny because just about every person in every city, in every state in America, swears up and down that their city has the worst drivers. Their state has the worst drivers. Their state has the worst roads. Well, you're fixing to find out which 10 states have the best roads. Number 10, Indiana. Number 9, Kansas. Number 8, Tennessee. Number 7, Texas. And number 6, Idaho. 10 through 6 again is Indiana, Kansas, Tennessee, Texas, and Idaho. Number 5, North Carolina. Number 4, Oklahoma. Number 3, Ohio. Number 2, Georgia. And the best state to drive in is Iowa. Now, unless I misunderstood the article when I was reading it, it sounds like there's more to determining which states are the best states to drive in besides just the actual roads. And of course, when they do the roads, they're not going to include road work because there's road work going on in just about every city in every state year round at some time or another. So no matter where you go, more than likely at some point, if you travel a long distance, you're going to run into some kind of road work. It happens. It doesn't matter when you try it. It seems like it's always a bad time. But from my understanding, it is mainly the actual roads themselves as far as, who has bad potholes and all that kind of stuff. But it's also having to do a lot with the actual speeding of the drivers, and it has a lot to do with the crime in the area because who wants to be driving down the road when there's a chance that somebody besides you might pull a gun out on you? So it is mainly the roads, but it's also the crime in the area, and it's also at that current point in time exactly how people are driving, because you can be going down the road and the speed limit can be 70, but you've got 50 cars around you going 90. And you can also be at a spot where the speed limit's 55, but everybody around you is going 45, and you're in a spot where it's a 2-lane road, and you've got a car in this lane going 45 and a car in this lane going 50, and they're pretty much going down the road side by side. There's nothing you can do because there's no other lane to get in, and these cars just going down the road on a Sunday drive, as they always say. You hit a situation like that, you're going to rate that state bad because you can't drive because you can't go anywhere. But it is mainly the roads themselves, and it's funny because I've been to Kansas. Now, I didn't go through a lot of Kansas. I didn't go through downtown Kansas, but I went to Oklahoma back in 1994, and Kansas is right beside Oklahoma if you go to the right part of Oklahoma. So we just made that extra 30-minute drive and went to the outskirts of Kansas. So I've been to Kansas, but it was 29 years ago. And of course, I've been to Tennessee. I've been to North Carolina numerous times. I've been to Oklahoma, and I've been to Georgia. So I've been to 5 of the 10 states on the list. And I don't really honestly remember any of those states having bad roads as far as the roads being in bad condition. I remember a lot of road work going on in all of those states. As a matter of fact, right now in Tennessee and in Georgia, there's a lot of road work going on. But you can't hold that against them because roads don't last forever. You have to repair them. It ain't the people's fault that the roads fell apart. Roads don't last forever. But I don't really remember any of the roads actually being bad. But I have been through certain cities in certain states, and when I'm going down the road, I'm like, man, this is creepy, because you're going through an area where it seems like there's no stores around, there's no gas stations around. You just see 3 or 4 houses, and outside of that, it's just bushes and trees. And times like that, I'm like, man, I don't want to be here. It's not that the driving is bad. It's just you don't feel comfortable. you don't feel safe. So just be prepared when you get ready to take your family vacation, that if you're going to Indiana, Kansas, Tennessee, Texas, Idaho, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Ohio, Georgia, and Iowa, that all of those states are really, really good to drive in. And if you look at it, honestly, really, truly, the only huge state population wise is Texas. Maybe, according to some, Ohio, but there's parts of Ohio that are overcrowded, and there's parts of Ohio that there's nobody there. But Texas, from one end to the other, is overcrowded. So I wonder if that has something to do with it, because if you go to a state, even if the roads are in excellent condition, if you're trying to get somewhere in a hurry, or if you're on vacation, you want to get there. You don't want to get stuck in traffic. And if you go to Texas, you're going to get stuck in traffic. But for the most part, the other 9 states on this list, if you're just driving through them, it's no problem. You just drive right through them. So I wonder if rush hour traffic has a lot to do with it, because it's one thing if you're just out on a Sunday stroll. But if you're in a hurry, trying to get somewhere, rush hour traffic can be the death of some people, because most people just don't have patience, and you get in a hurry and you get out there and you start moving a foot every 5 minutes, it will drive you absolutely crazy. I can recall back in the day before I got in the wrestling business, when I used to go to Clemson football games. If their game was at noon, I would get there at about 6:30 on Saturday morning. And most folks call me crazy, but I hate traffic. So I would get up and I would intentionally get there early to beat the traffic. If the game was 8 o'clock that night, I'd get there at about 12:30 in the afternoon. And it was on purpose. It was to avoid traffic. And now, a lot of times, if I have to go to a faraway wrestling show and I've got to travel, if it's a place I've been to before and I know how the roads are and how the traffic is, I don't mind. But if it's a place either I ain't been to before, or I ain't been to in a long time, or I've been there and I know the traffic's going to be heavy, if the show is at 7:30, I'm going to try my best to get there about 4 o'clock, just to avoid the traffic, because I can't stand getting stuck in traffic. I don't have road rage. I don't fly off the handle and get mad, but I just sit there the whole time thinking, I ain't gonna get there. 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 And that thought crosses my mind 175 times every time I stop. Any thoughts on this top 10 countdown? Please feel free to let me know. Homes for Our Troops is a publicly funded 501c nonprofit organization that builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans. Since the 2004 inception, nearly 90 cents of every dollar spent has gone directly to our program services for veterans. Visit at hfotusa.org. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. I've been trying to break up with an optician recently. It's really hard. Every time I tell her I can't see her anymore, she moves an inch closer and says, "How about now?" And that wraps it up for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.